Even heroes get scared. The scream tore through the night, jolting Marcus awake. His heart hammered against his ribs as he bolted upright, sweat-soaked sheets tangled around his legs. The same nightmare. Always the same. The flames, the collapsing beam, the child's terrified eyes as he reached for her, and missed. He glanced at the clock, 3:17 a.m. In 4 hours, he'd put on his uniform again, climb onto engine 42, and pretend he wasn't falling apart inside. Because that's what heroes do. They keep going, even when they're scared to death. If you're connecting with Marcus's struggle already, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps bring more stories like this one to life, stories that remind us all that courage isn't about being fearless, it's about facing our fears head-on. Marcus dragged himself to the bathroom, splashing cold water on his face. The mirror reflected a man he barely recognized anymore, hollow eyes, a week's worth of stubble, and the fading scar along his jawline from the fire that changed everything 6 months ago. Station 12 had responded to a 3-alarm blaze at an apartment complex. Marcus had gone in for one last sweep when he heard it, a child crying. He'd found her, a little girl no more than 5, huddled in a closet clutching a teddy bear. He'd almost reached her when the ceiling gave way. He remembered the hospital. The chief's grim face. "You got lucky, Sullivan. 2 inches to the left and that beam would have crushed your skull instead of your shoulder." Lucky. Marcus didn't feel lucky. Not when he couldn't sleep through the night. Not when every siren made him flinch. Not when he couldn't stop wondering about the little girl who'd been rescued by another firefighter minutes after he'd been pulled from the building. The station house was quiet when Marcus arrived, earlier than necessary. He preferred it this way, time to compose himself before the others showed up with their boisterous energy and concerned glances. Captain Rivera was already there, nursing a coffee in the kitchen. "Sullivan," she nodded. "You're early again." "Couldn't sleep," he admitted, pouring himself a cup. Rivera studied him, her dark eyes missing nothing. After 23 years on the job, she had an uncanny ability to read her crew. "Nightmares still?" Marcus stared into his coffee. "They're getting better." The lie tasted bitter on his tongue. "Sure they are," Rivera said, unconvinced. "That's why you look like you've been hit by a truck." She sighed, setting down her mug. "Listen, Sullivan, there's no shame in talking to someone. The department has resources." "I'm fine, Cap," Marcus cut her off. "Just need more time." Rivera's expression softened. "Time doesn't fix everything, Marcus. Sometimes you need help carrying the weight." Before he could respond, the rest of the crew began filtering in. Danny Chen, their newest recruit, bright-eyed and eager. Sam Washington, paramedic extraordinaire with a laugh that filled the station. And Mike Ortiz, Marcus's best friend since the academy, who'd been giving him space lately, too much space. The shift started quietly. Equipment checks. Training drills. Lunch. Marcus was beginning to think they might have a peaceful day when the alarm blared. Apartment fire, possible entrapment. His stomach dropped as the details came through. 3rd floor. Child reported missing. In the engine, Marcus tried to steady his breathing. Mike glanced over, concern etched across his features. "You good, brother?" "Yeah," Marcus nodded mechanically. "I'm good." But he wasn't good. As they pulled up to the scene, flames already licking out of the 3rd-floor windows, Marcus felt his chest constrict. The world narrowed to a pinpoint, sounds becoming distant and muffled. He was back there again, heat searing his lungs, visibility dropping to 0, the weight of the beam crushing down. "Sullivan." Rivera's sharp voice cut through the fog. "You're with Chen on the 2nd floor. Washington and Ortiz, take the 1st. I want a thorough sweep, but nobody plays hero today. Clear." Her eyes lingered on Marcus, and he knew she was giving him an out. Second floor, already evacuated according to initial reports. Safe. Shame burned hotter than any fire. He'd become the weak link, the one they had to protect. He nodded stiffly and followed Chen into the building. The second floor was indeed clear, but as they finished their sweep, a crackle came through the radio. A mother had just arrived home. Her 8-year-old son should have been alone in apartment 307. Third floor. Command to all units. We have confirmation of a child in apartment 307. Who's closest? Marcus and Chen exchanged glances. They were at the stairwell to the third floor. Second floor team, Marcus responded, his voice steadier than he felt. We're at the north stairwell. We can be there in 30 seconds. There was a pause. Marcus knew Rivera was weighing the risks, and his readiness. Proceed with caution, Sullivan. That floor's deteriorating fast. Get in, get out. Copy that. Chen looked at him, her expression a mix of determination and concern. You sure about this? Marcus wasn't sure of anything anymore. But he nodded. Stay close. The third floor was an inferno. They crawled beneath the smoke, thermal imaging guiding them toward 307. Each foot forward was a battle against Marcus's screaming instincts to retreat. His heart thundered in his ears, drowning out everything but the memory of failure. They reached the apartment. The door was hot but not impassable. Chen broke it down, and they entered a smoke-filled living room. Fire department. Call out. Marcus shouted, his voice muffled by his mask. Nothing. They pushed forward, checking rooms systematically. Kitchen clear. Bathroom clear. As they approached the bedroom, Marcus heard it, a faint cough. The bedroom was thick with smoke, flames already consuming one wall. And there, huddled in the corner furthest from the fire, was a small figure wrapped in a wet towel. Marcus froze. The roar of the fire became the roar of the past. The ceiling creaking overhead became the sound of impending collapse. His legs refused to move. Chen glanced back, saw his hesitation, and started toward the boy. But a loud crack from above made them both look up. The ceiling was giving way, directly over the child. In that moment, something shifted in Marcus. Fear didn't vanish, it crystallized into perfect clarity. He lunged forward, reaching the boy just as the ceiling began to fall. He covered the child with his body, feeling debris rain down around them but miraculously missing them. I've got you, he told the terrified boy. I'm going to get you out of here. He scooped the child up, and with Chen clearing their path, they made their way back through the apartment. The stairwell was compromised now, flames climbing the walls. Command, this is Sullivan. We have the child but north stairwell is cut off. Moving to fire escape on east side. Copy that. Be advised, fire escape may be compromised above the second floor. Marcus looked at Chen. I'll go first with the boy. Test the stability. The fire escape groaned under their weight but held. Step by step, they descended through smoke and heat until finally reaching the ground, where paramedics rushed forward to take the child. As the boy was whisked away to a waiting ambulance, Marcus sank to his knees, adrenaline giving way to exhaustion. He pulled off his helmet and mask, gulping in fresh air. A small hand touched his shoulder. He looked up to see Rivera. You did good in there, Sullivan. Marcus shook his head. I froze. If Chen hadn't been there. But you didn't stay frozen, Rivera interrupted. That's the difference. Later, after the fire was contained and they'd returned to the station, Marcus found himself alone in the locker room. The weight of the day pressed down on him, but differently than before. He'd faced his fear today. He hadn't conquered it, maybe he never would, but he'd moved through it. Mike found him there, sitting quietly. Heard what happened up there, he said, taking a seat beside Marcus. That took guts. Marcus looked at his friend. I was terrified, Mike. I'm still terrified. Every call, every fire. I keep seeing that night. Mike nodded slowly. You know what my old man used to say? Being brave isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and doing what needs doing anyway. Your old man was a wise guy. Nah, he stole it from some movie, Mike grinned. But it's true all the same. For the first time in months, Marcus felt something loosen in his chest. I think I need help, Mike. The department counselor, maybe it's time. Mike clasped his shoulder. About damn time you admitted it. I'll go with you, if you want. The next morning, Marcus woke from another nightmare. But this time, something was different. In the dream, he'd reached the little girl. He'd carried her out. It wasn't reality, he knew that, but perhaps it was his mind beginning to heal, to rewrite the story not as it had been, but as it could be. He made a call to the department counselor and scheduled his first appointment. Then he did something he hadn't done in months. He went for a run, feeling the early morning sun on his face, his breath coming in steady rhythms. 3 weeks later, Marcus stood outside a hospital room, a small teddy bear clutched in his hand. The boy from the fire, Elijah, was being discharged today. Marcus had visited twice before, watching the child's recovery with a sense of wonder and gratitude. Elijah's mother saw him first. Firefighter Sullivan, she smiled, waving him in. Look who's here, Elijah. The boy's face lit up. Marcus. Did you bring Sparky? It was their little joke. The teddy bear Marcus had brought on his first visit had been named after the fire department's mascot. Sparky's holding down the fort at the station, Marcus smiled. But he sent his regards. As Elijah chattered excitedly about going home, Marcus felt a profound sense of peace. The nightmares hadn't stopped completely, but they were less frequent now. The counseling was helping. So was talking openly with his crew. And these visits, seeing the life he'd helped save, those helped most of all. Before leaving, Elijah's mother hugged him tightly. You're his hero, you know, she whispered. He tells everyone his firefighter friend saved him. Marcus thought about correcting her, about explaining how he'd frozen, how Chin deserved the credit, but instead, he simply said, we all saved him. That's what we do. Back at the station, Rivera called him into her office. I've been watching you these past few weeks, Sullivan. Marcus nodded, waiting for her assessment. You're doing the work, she said simply. I'm proud of you. Thanks, Cap. It's a process. Always will be, she agreed. But I think you're ready for something else now. She slid a folder across her desk. The department's expanding its peer support program. They need firefighters who understand trauma firsthand. Who can talk to others going through similar struggles. Marcus stared at the folder. You think I should apply? I think you have something valuable to offer now. Something you didn't have before. What's that? Rivera smiled. The knowledge that even heroes get scared, and that's okay. That night, as his shift ended and dawn broke over the city, Marcus stood outside the station watching the sky lighten. Fear would always be part of the job. Part of life. But now he understood something essential. Courage wasn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. He thought of all the firefighters out there, carrying their own invisible burdens. Maybe he could help them see what had taken him so long to learn, that vulnerability wasn't weakness. That asking for help wasn't failure. That healing was possible. Marcus took a deep breath of the morning air and felt, for the first time in a long time, ready to face whatever came next. Not because he wasn't afraid anymore, but because he knew now that fear was just part of the journey. And he wasn't walking that journey alone. If this story touched you or reminded you of someone in your life who faces their fears every day, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind us all of our shared humanity, our struggles, our courage, and our capacity to rise above our fears. Remember, even the bravest among us get scared sometimes. It's what we do with that fear that defines us.